found my St. Pat's hat. Also, I've become the triangle strategy, and I have some thoughts. Ever since I first played Fire Emblem Awakening, I've always been really open to try strategy RPGs. And I loved Octopath Traveler, so triangle strategy was right down my alley, which led to a very enjoyable experience for me. So complaints first. This game has some serious pacing issues. When I first started up the game, I wanted to jump into a level quickly, but I found that the game just kept talking to me. It's a lot of select level, dialogue, select level, more dialogue, select a side level, more dialogue, and select level, explore a town, and then more dialogue. If you can't get past the opening bits of this game because there's so much dialogue, I completely get it. It talks a lot. Normally when I record gameplay for reviews, I try to get roughly an hour, and here I was trying to complete a chapter, and given how much the game talks to you, it took me like 2 hours. I think the game would have benefited from having portraits inside the text boxes during dialogue, maybe animated cutscenes matching the game's art style. Just something to make these moments a bit more digestible because they go on for so long. That's really my only complaint. And even then, it stopped being an issue when stuff started happening. The story gets some very fun moments as the game progresses. I really enjoy the political climate in Norzelia. That last act in the game fucking slaps. I was getting very into it by the end. The strongest aspect of the story has to be how the game handles making decisions. Instead of you picking A, B, or C, your party members vote. You can convince people from one side to another, but success is going to depend upon Seonoa's convictions, which are 3 hidden stats that raise throughout the game: morality, unity, and liberty. The second choice in the game, we ended up doing what I didn't want to do. Because of the path I was sending Seonoa down. His convictions didn't line up with what I wanted to do, so I failed to convince people to my side. I love that so much. I've never played a game with a branching storyline that kind of forces you to keep your character consistent. You can still convince people to go against Seonoa's convictions, but it's going to be harder to do it. And I like how the choices didn't feel like good guy route or bad guy route. Even if you make a choice and the game returns to the same point it would have anyways after a few chapters, it still feels like it left an impact on the world and the characters. I think they did a phenomenal job on this aspect of the game, and I really like what New Game Plus does with it. Spoilers on how the game handles New Game Plus. Mute until this tag is gone. On repeat playthroughs, the game tells you exactly what dialogue option is weighted to which conviction, and then shows you how much it's raised by. It also explains what smaller things change. They did a really good job with it in general. Enemies are a higher level, much like true Vault Hunter mode in Borderlands 2. You still have all of your units too, and the game can show you what your convictions need to be at to recruit different characters that you missed. They really let you see the inner workings of the conviction system in it, and as a result, I think it's one of the best New Game Pluses I've seen since Borderlands 2. The music is solid. I didn't find myself falling in love with it much like I did with Octopaths, but it's still very good. But the gameplay? Man, is it fun. There's a lot of super smart interactions and abilities. If you use Thunder on a wet surface, it will shock all connecting tiles, doing damage to anyone standing on them. There was a really good level where the center was water, and me and the AI were dancing around it because we didn't want to commit. We both had electric mages, and when we inevitably went into the center, I had to judge if it was worth it to use a Thunder move in there to do a lot of damage to them, but also do a good amount of damage to me. The other elemental effects were neat, but electric was my favorite. On flammable surfaces, fire can ignite it, doing damage to anyone that passes through it. Ice reduces movement, and if it's hit with a fire move, it will melt it, leaving puddles. And wind can displace enemies. Every unit, for the most part, is pretty unique. Basically, everyone has a different gimmick. Some standouts to me were the blacksmith who could set up traps, which I found endlessly funny. One archer had a sentry mode, shooting anyone who came in range of her. The assassin can do 2 moves in a turn, and Roland has to die in 70% of the levels.
Bloodbrook is in your hands.
Especially comparing it to like Three Houses, a game that I think had a very weak class system. It's refreshing to see a game make its units stand out as much as possible with a cast this big. I wish it let me use more than like 12 units at a time though. Much like with the Octopath, roughly like halfway through the game, I could really see how people can go crazy with strategies, specifically triangle ones. I did some pretty wacky shit late game, and it was so fun. The TP system is at the center of all of these strategies, and it is great. At the beginning of every turn, each unit will get 1 TP. The more you have, the stronger moves you can do. If you don't have any, you can't really do a lot. I found it to be a very fun stat to manage during fights. And that card system, I don't remember what it's called. They're kind of like gambits from Three Houses, but instead of equipping one to each character and they can do it X amount of times during a battle, you have 5 charges for the cards, and each one takes up a different amount. It was a good addition. I really liked them. One of my biggest gripes with the gameplay was just having to unlearn nearly a decade of Fire Emblem muscle memory. It took me way too long to remember there was no counter-attacking. And having no set turns, I found to be a great change of pace. Oh my god, dude, and this art style is so good. I stan HD 2D super hard, but I stan their hand-drawn art even more. I fucking love this box art. Even that alternative one is really good. While I do believe the pacing of the game does hurt it a lot, it is saved by its strengths, that being the gameplay and the conviction system. Those things are such a highlight in this game. Easily some of the most fun I've had with maps in a strategy game, and the conviction system has become one of my favorite systems in any RPG. And a sick new game plus brings triangle strategy to an 8.5 out of 10. Back-to-back 8.5s, baby, let's go! Here on the Some Guy Matt YouTube channel, we aim for diverse scores. If you like strategy games or triangles, give this game a shot, you'll enjoy it. It's going to be fun to compare it to the other 200 strategy games coming out this year. Do you agree? Think I'm an idiot? Comment down below. Dislike the video if triangle strategy is the absolute dumbest name you've ever heard for a game, ever. And subscribe for more bad content. Follow me on other platforms if you want. Take care, guys.